Repeat that. Story, 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 story. Some of you may know our next teller as Chef, because she can make any kind of dish into a tasty gourmet meal that not only tastes good, but is good for you. She also has a gift of telling stories that are food for thought. The question is, have you ever wondered how the first strawberries came to be upon the earth? Well, listen carefully as Joanne Thomas, affectionately known as Queen Mother, spins the tale entitled The First Strawberries of How They Came to Be. It's a story of good love. Did you hear me? Good love. It's a story of quick kindness and forgiveness. It's a reminder that friendship and respect are as sweet as the taste.
Jambo, I gotta hold my hands up. That really mellowed me out, that music, I'm telling you. I'm telling you, but let's get down to our business. As the legend goes, that on a beautiful day, much like today, when we call all of it good, it was a long, long time ago that the Creator made a man and he made a woman. But only he made them at the same time so that neither would be lonely, and they enjoyed each other's company so much that they were always together, and as time grew, so did their love. Eventually the two married, and life for them was simple, and it was happy. She loved her some him, and he loved him some her. They remained inseparable. The only thing that kept them apart were their chores. But there was always quitting time. And he'd come home, hey baby, knowing that she was partial to that affectionate term, and then she'd respond to him and say, Pindu, which was a strong, endearing term for love. And it was followed by the sound of a sweet giggle. But today was no ordinary kind of day. So, ordinarily, she cooked for this man. She always does. She loved cooking for him and taking care of the things inside of the house, and he took pride in the outer workings outside of the house that provided for his wife's comfort. You see, each feeding each other in all that they did, because it was all about L-O-V-E, love, don't you know? So getting back to this day, and I don't know what happened, but the man came home and he found his passion fruit in the garden picking flowers. There was no aroma coming from the kitchen, and that was a fact, but that did not mean that there was nothing brewing. Now, in a day unlike today, the woman would have said, look, because when she saw him, she was so delighted that she ran to him where he stood, holding the flowers out before her. Let's look at these beautiful flowers that I picked for our table. Let's go inside and eat this wonderful meal that I prepared for us. But today, again, was no ordinary day, because the husband had showed anger. He looked at her, and she almost didn't realize that he wasn't smiling back when she approached him and said, I'm hungry. Ooh. And it was a voice, a demeanor that was so cold, she didn't recognize it coming from the man that she had loved with all of her heart. And before she could recover, this is what dropped out of his mouth. Do you expect me to eat those flowers? Oh, home skillet. Now, what was he thinking? Because I'm thinking that somebody temporarily lost their mind. She looked at him. Your words, they wound me, was all she could manage. She hung her head and said, I will live with you no longer. And she turned on her heels and she headed east, and with a gait that was so determined that as hard as he tried, he could not catch up with her. And she walked, and leaving the flowers that she had picked for their table dropping to the ground, leaving a trail behind her. the harder he tried, the farther the distance was between them. So now the brother comes to himself and he's just thinking, well, what was life going to be without my real bone? Oh, he was sorry, all right, and heaven helped the man. So around the same time, the sun was climbing high in the sky, and he witnessed all that went on, you see, and he took pity on the man and said, hey, my brother, are you still mad at your wife? The brother hung his head and said, no, regretting those words that cut the one that he loved more than his life. I just wish I could tell her how sorry I am. If only I could catch up with her. Baby, baby, I get down on my knees for you. Well, he's starting to redeem himself. I'm thinking that I kind of like this brother. If you would only love me like you used to do, yeah. Oh, yeah, I do like this brother. You gotta like him too. I know Son did, and Son decided to help. He said, I tell you what, I'll slow the woman's roll so you can catch up to her. And when you do, you tell her all that's in your heart. And that was all the man needed to hear. He immediately set out to recapture his helpmeet, to regain her heart, and to bring her back to their home. Because it's what? It's all about love, love, love. I know you can spell it. L-O-V-E, love. And love is what they had. So Son went about the task of his promise. And he caught up to where the woman kind of hovered over to where the woman was walking. And so he sent rays of sunshine down, and where those rays shone on the ground, these raspberries came up, and those raspberries were ripe. They were ready for the picking, and they were just good enough to eat. But the woman, she gave no mind, and she kept walking. So next, he sent a blast, and where that blast hit, then blueberries came up and they just glistened in the grass. But again, the woman paid no attention, and she kept on walking. For the third try, Son sent these beans down. The beans went down, and blueberries already, blackberries came up, and those blackberries were dark, and they were plump, and they were juicy, and oh my, but oh, that woman, her hurt was too great, and she just walked on by. But with time, as you know, time heals a lot of things, and her hurt and her disappointment begun to subside. Well, when the sister's feet felt ignited too, because she had walked a great distance and she needed to rest. So she found this rock. She sat up on the rock, and the Son, not to be dismayed, was going to seize this opportunity. And what came to mind was this one berry that he knew surely had the power to spark her attention. So he spun around in the universe in this display of greatness, just so happy with himself, and he just did a power surge down before the woman's tired feet. And right then and right there, these strawberries presented themselves in all their glory. The heart-shaped fruit just glowed in the grass like fiery embers. And I ask you, who could ignore something as good looking as this? Certainly not the woman. I think Son hit upon something there, because she saw the strawberries and she reached out and she plucked one. She bit into that marvelous fruit. Its juices started to trickle down the side of her mouth. Her eyes just rose back in her head, and Lord have mercy, she screams, never, ever, ever have I tasted anything as sweet as this. And as she savored that goodness, it reminded her how happy she and that man was before they quarreled. But that thought didn't waste on the sister. She started to gather those strawberries. She said, I must get some of this fruit from my husband. And she started grabbing them, and she took two and put them in her pocket. And then she took another one, and she just saved that fleshy, juicy fruit once more. So she looked around, and she looked around. It was starting to get a little dark. So she thought that she better gather those berries a little quickly now, because she knew she needed to return home. And when she finished, she stood up. Her heart reached out to the universe. She gasped. His scent caught into her left nostril. Could this be my imagination? She wondered. No, it was not. The husband had caught up. He was standing right behind her. Hey, baby. Oh, the musical sound of those familiar words just vibrated in her chest. Can you forgive my words so harsh, he asked. And of course she would. She answered him by feeding him one of those lusciously ripe strawberries. Her fingers to his mouth, just tingling at the touch. And in a gesture so smooth, that man gathered his woman, and they started to travel west toward the setting sun, together, going home, hand in hand. So family and friends, here you have it. The first strawberries who ever hit the dust, they were shared by love and spawned by forgiveness. And from love flows friendship and respect. And that respect extends from one heart to another. Asante Sana. And good love to you.